A local nonprofit that helps women go from homelessness to self-sufficiency will celebrate its 25th anniversary on Friday. To tell us about the event and what's being supported are two guests from Brookview House, the Chief Development Officer, Mercedes Tompkins, and the Youth Development Programs Director, Mayumi Brooks. Thank you both very much for being with us.
Thank you.
I want to start with Mercedes. Talk about how this all got started.
Brookview House
Yes.
was an idea of three women who really saw eliminating family homelessness and seeing it as a total family unit and looking at long-term solutions as opposed to here's a certificate. For a lot of the families that we deal with and have dealt with over the years, they come with complex issues. It's not as simple as housing an individual. You've got each member of the family who has their particular issues and their particular needs to be met. And it's not as simple, and most homeless families have a hard time staying in housing. So when the three women pulled it together, this whole concept of working with the entire family, teaching life skills, and no rush to get into your apartment, just giving them some time and experience with living in an apartment, setting up a home, and getting some training and getting their kids settled.
Mayumi, what's it like for the kids?
Well, for the young children, they really don't. Once they get to Brookview, they're settled. But I think a lot of them is a lack of academics because they're in hotels and motels and just transition from families, from cars to different places outside living. And once they're transitioned to Brookview House, they get settled because then their needs are met and they're getting attached to the schools, different clinical health issues, things like that, addressing their health issues, physicals, things like that. For the teens live double lives. Like they'll get off at the bus stop up the street. They don't want their peers to know about them living at Brookview House. So it's pretty tough for the teens, yes.
Going back to Mercedes, what about the way the housing market is affecting things? I know obviously it's one of many forces behind homelessness, but you're also trying to help people find housing somewhere else now too, right?
Well, we have a couple things going. One, we're building, we're expanding, and that's really to expand our model so that our success at 93% of our families living long term after they leave is I don't know of any other program that's been that successful. So we really want to expand our model. The other piece of it is really right now, Boston and the greater Boston area, we're in a housing crisis. The vacancy rate is really low. The cost of housing is astronomical. What are we, 3 in the country? I mean, it's really hard to find housing and then find affordable housing.
And these are women who eventually, I picture them working in a job, but the job might be in Boston, and if the housing's not close or if there's no good transit connection, that's going to be really difficult.
Well, I was actually with a couple of our clients this morning, and one of the women said, I have to move from Quincy. It's not anywhere. My job's, on Blue Hill Avenue. My kids' family is here, in Roxbury and in Jamaica Plain, and I'm way out on 2 bus rides and a train away. And it's a challenge. It's really a challenge. I mean, you can move further and further out, but the accessibility to resources starts to shrink.
But you're also trying to help kids not just deal with a crisis, but you're also trying to help them look at the future and pick up some skills. Girls coding, explain that.
Oh yes, we just we're going on our 2nd year launching the girls coding. We do that twice a week on Saturdays. They spend 2 hours learning how to code, and we expose them to field trips like Akamai. EMC,
this is a technology company, right?
Technology companies, and they get to go tour, so they get exposed to the future jobs and the salaries that's out there. So yeah.
How does that change the way these young ladies think of themselves, you think?
I think they think, for one, we raise the bar, the expectation, so they do well in school. They enhance in school. They want to look into colleges, so we take them to tours in colleges, different opportunities, so they can enhance in their life. And I think with this exposure and this experience that they encounter, then it makes them have a change of life, change of thought, that they want more, and they break the cycle of the homelessness.
Mercedes, among the things you're trying to do with this event this week is to grow your program in some ways. Talk about what you got in mind with that.
Well, as I mentioned before, we're expanding. The other piece of this event is our 25th anniversary, which is huge for us. And the other thing that we've, over the last, annually we use this event as a way of creating more financial support that is unrestricted. I mean, a lot of foundations and corporations, they want to fund the program, but keeping the lights on, just the general, the cost of fundraising, the cost of printing, the cost of all of those things don't fall into the direct category. So this is an opportunity to tell our story, but tell our whole story about the success that we've had and what it takes in totality to create this to support our organization.
And Mercedes, if people want to get involved in this, find out more about the event itself, what's the best way for them to do that?
I would go online, www.brookviewhouse.org. You can purchase tickets. It's this Friday at the Exchange Center, which is right out on the pier. It's a beautiful site. It's a well-kept secret. And come. You can even buy tickets at the door.
Thank you both very much. Mercedes Tompkins and Mayumi Brooks.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
From Brookview House. We'll have more news in just a moment.